Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Lloyd speaking, and we are on to the third last session. Oops. So it's coming to pretty fast coming to an end of the year, and AKB is going to take a break on the 22nd of December onwards. Yeah, so I only have about, I think, 2 more sessions ahead of me, yeah, before we end for the year. Then I will see you back in 2021. So that's just giving you a brief timeline of what's going to happen. Yeah. So with 2 more sessions ahead of us, if any of you want me to share anything specific regarding indicators, templates, or anything, type in a message. I'll see what I can do. Otherwise, then we have to wait until the end of starting of next year. All right. So with this, I'm going to start off this session by sharing an indicator with you, which is called the WADA ATA ETA. I don't know how exactly to pronounce that. WADA ATA explosion. Yeah, I don't know if any of you have actually heard of it before. All right, so it's actually a combination of 2 indicators, MACD and Bollinger Bands. Personally, I do like Bollinger Bands, especially I think I shared Bollinger Bands with you before. To me, a very specific way of using Bollinger Bands is to wait for a Bollinger squeeze, the upper and lower boundary to squeeze together, and then wait for explosion of price. I like trading breakout that way. Yeah, but with the current indicator, it actually has managed to combine BB, Bollinger Bands, and MACD. I also love MACD a lot. One of the earlier indicators which I shared with you, which is the power average indicator, which is to change the coloring of the candles on your chart. I think it's one of the very first indicators which I shared. I love that. So this particular indicator which I'm sharing today, it combines both of my favorites. So I think Mike can actually share the link. Let me see. Wait a minute. There. Yeah. So I'll just give you a brief explanation because this is not a usual indicator that you will actually encounter in your MT4. Yeah. At first glance, it actually looks a lot like a volume-based indicator, which up to today, I'm still exploring how best to use volume in Forex trading. I have some clue, but I don't have a definitive way of using it. So once I find, I will be sure to share with you. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, this is how this is the name of the indicator. Don't ask me what's the correct explanation. For now, I would prefer to just say it as WADA ATA explosions or WAE. WAE sounds nicer. I don't know what's the actual name for it. I mean, how to pronounce it. Yeah, it's actually, this is how it actually looks on your screens. You have the red bar and the green bar, which looks a lot like your volume indicator, volume-based indicator. I assure you it is not. So this particular indicator is actually built dependent on price. And basically it helps to identify when a particular instrument or Forex pair actually the price actually gains in momentum. Basically, that's about it. Yeah. One of the reasons why I like this indicator while I'm testing it, I actually did a brief back test today. I'll be sharing with you all the results on one single pair. The result actually came back pretty good. Yeah. So anyway, one of the reasons why I like this particular indicator is that it actually filters out price which are more or less not doing anything in a consolidation of sorts. Yeah. So on the trader's part, what we need to filter on our own end is actually to filter the direction. Actually, that's about it. And there are many methods to filter directions. For today, I choose to use pivots, the weekly pivot and daily pivot, which should be familiar to a lot of you since you're actually Actions to Wealth students. Yeah. So I have a question coming up. Let me see what's the question. Right, up to today, you're still asking me about charts. I will actually specifically talk about charts when during Tuesday and Wednesday show. Yeah. But anyway, if you're asking me about stock market, my bias is to go long. Simple as that. The reason being, a very fundamental reason being, is that if you go and Google the greed index, I think at the moment the greed index is actually, I might as well just show you. It's a bit deviating from what I wanted to show, but doesn't matter. Where is it? No, fear and greed index. Here it is. Yeah. So this affects mostly most of the indices. Yeah. So it's actually an extreme greed now. So due to this, I'm actually pretty biased. My bias for S&P 500 and FTSE is to go long. Yeah. So depending on your strategy, I would say fit it in. It would be a good time to go long. Sorry, I deviated a bit. But yeah, so this is how the indicator looks like. So this particular indicator which I'm sharing today is not the original form. It is actually, it has another filter with 20 EMA. So you can actually, once you actually plug it into your MP4, you can go to your indicators list. Yeah, so you have the usual display. So as I mentioned, this is a combination of the MACD and the Bollinger Bands. And the usual alerts that which I like most of the time, not actually in front of my screens. So I don't think there's any particular thing that I need to show you. I don't have any preferred settings for this. I'm just using a default settings. Yeah. So with using of this indicator, earlier I mentioned what the trader needs to do is actually to filter direction. That's about it. Once you filter direction, then we can decide on your own if you need additional filtering is when to enter. That's about it. Yeah. So for today, for this simple experiment, once I plug in this indicator, let me see. Yeah, let's go to the start of this year for this instrument, Aussie yen. Yeah, Aussie yen this year is actually pretty volatile. So I will use the weekly pivot and the daily pivot as filter. Yeah. So I require both to actually step down. Once both step down, and the first sell entry I have, I will actually go for it. Yeah. So I'm not a proponent of jumping into a lot of trades. Sometimes I do that, but most of the time I try not to. Yeah, more trades to me eventually actually it results in a worse result. I mean, I will have a worse result in trading. Yeah. So like I mentioned, this is my weekly pivot, and then my daily pivot. I require both to step down and then to have a signal. So this indicator actually gives me the red dot and the blue dot you see is actually the buying and selling signal. On top of that, I don't know how many of you is from Singapore, but anyway, usually the server starting time is 5 a.m. and I'm still sleeping. 8 a.m. there's a chance I might wake up. So any candle that happens from 5 a.m. in between 5 to 8, I would say, let's be fair to myself, I won't take those candles. I'm happily sleeping in my dreamland. As for entry, I'll just decide that it's a pending entry below the signal candle, and the stop loss is either usually at the last swing high or the pivot, whichever is nearer. Yeah, so these are a few simple rules just immediately implement. So did I lose any of you? All right. So I just actually ran a simple backtesting results, and this is what I've gotten. Yeah, so pivot steps down. I got a selling signal. Enter. I will be aiming for 3R. I've tested on an hourly chart. Yeah, so hourly chart usually I'll be more aggressive. I can go for 3R. Sometimes I will actually go for more, but I'll just go for 3R as a standard measurement tool. Yeah, so this will actually straight away be a winner. Like I mentioned, I would recommend to take only one trade a week. Yeah. This is more for doing this back testing is just more easier. Yeah. And then you can see that weekly pivot on my chart steps down. I need to wait for daily pivot to step down before there is a valid sell signal for me. And you can see it steps up, steps up, steps up. Finally, it steps down. And this is the first selling signal. I'll enter it, stop loss above, eventually hit my take profit until late next week. Weekly pivot steps up. So the following week, actually weekly pivot steps up and the daily pivot steps down all 5 days. So I won't have any valid signal anyway. Weekly pivot steps down. So you can see this is actually the first candle. Yeah, I don't care about the gaps, but I did mention earlier is that if you look at it, the signal actually occurs at 000 hours, which means 5 a.m. at my local time. I am still sleeping. Yeah. So to be fair to me, candles that are this early I won't be taking. Yeah, there's no way in. Sorry, I'm not first. There isn't any possibility of me waking up at 5 a.m. to take a trade. The next signal comes at server time 3 o'clock. That means it's actually 8 a.m. on my side. So there's a chance that I will actually take this signal. So I'll count this as a valid one, which I'll take it. And I'll still get to my 3R. Cool. 1 trade a week. Don't be greedy. Weekly pivot steps down. You can see that I don't have any selling signal over here. Not for the rest of the week. Forget it. Weekly pivot steps up. So daily pivot steps up. So this is actually the first signal which occurs at 1 o'clock server time, which means 6 a.m. Not interested. The subsequent candle again happens at back-to-back 3 o'clock, which I'll take it. And this result is at a stop loss for me. So this is actually the first loss. Right? My stop loss, I put it at the daily pivot. So as I mentioned earlier, it's either at its last swing low or daily pivot, whichever is nearer. Yeah, so this is a stop loss, clear cut. The following week, weekly pivot steps up, daily pivot steps down, then steps up. So essentially, once it steps up, I don't really care where price is at the moment. Once it gives me a signal, which this is the, wait a minute. Yeah, this is a signal. I think I measured wrongly. Yeah. And then price takes off, which is still a win for me. Now, for the simplicity, I mean, usually I recommend people to take profit at the pivot itself, yeah, but it's just too troublesome for me to calculate that manner. So you can see that this is a simple way which I've done my testing. I don't think I need to go through everything, right? So again, weekly pivot steps down, daily pivot steps down, selling signal, stop loss. This time I put a weekly pivots. I actually gotten a stop loss for this, which is a bummer, I would say. If I putting on the last swing high, I would have gotten a win. But mechanics, the way I backtest is I treat myself as a mechanical system. So be it, a loss is a loss. This is not a valid candle for me to pick. Oh no, this is a valid candle. So you can see the weekly pivot steps down. But eventually price keeps going up. Yeah, so it won't actually trigger my pending order. Daily pivot steps down, weekly pivot step down. I'll put in entry, stop loss at the last swing high. So eventually I'll still get my win at the next week. So this goes on forth and forth. So I actually only managed to backtest about 22 times. 22 entries. And I actually gotten, believe it or not, 11 wins and 11 losses. Yeah. So if each of the trade, if I go for 3R, so 11 wins and 11 losses, I've actually gotten about 22% of just one chart, Aussie yen. Yeah, like I mentioned, it seems like as though I'm presenting a strategy, but since I did not backtest all pairs, I cannot guarantee the results. This is just a result of one pair, Aussie yen. Yeah, I randomly decided to choose Aussie yen because it's actually quite volatile this year for Aussie yen. Download the indicator, go ahead and try. I believe most of you as ATW students, you would have the pivot indicator by itself. So I don't need to share a pivot indicator. Unless you don't have the indicator because you're not a student of ATW, then next week, if you don't have a pivot indicator, just give me a follow. Next week, I'll be sharing the indicator to you. Yeah, simple as that. Or you can actually simply just use EMA. Yeah. filter with 20 EMA or 30 EMA, whichever you like, or even super trend. That's about it. So you can actually test it with H4. It works on H4 anyway. It's just that today I have a bit more time. I decided to test with H1, which is a more troublesome time frame to trade with. So not bad, right? 22 out of 22 trades, 11 wins and 11 losses. That means I'm actually up by 22% for one chart. That is really not bad. But anyway, let me see if I have any questions. Hi, Parish. Entry point. Look, if the indicator, I'll just take this. You can see from here, 2 o'clock candle is not fair for me to trade. I'm sleeping. The next will be this, which is 6 o'clock candle. That means on my side, that should be about 11 a.m. Yeah, like I mentioned, the entry, I just put it a pending order. It can be a buy stop or sell stop, but obviously, if both pivot steps up and are having a buy signal, then it will be a buy stop. It's just one pip above the candle. Yeah. So my stop loss, I choose to put it either at the last swing low or the pivot, whichever is nearer. It's just for simplicity, I decided to do it this way. Doesn't mean that it has any value to it. But you're welcome to try this method if you want. Now I have a request from Roy. S&P 500. So I just plot on my, let's say, pivots. Okay. Let's see what explosion. Let's go in. I'll remove the monthly pivot. Isn't of any use to me at the moment. Right, you wanted to see S&P 500. Is it that you trade exclusive with the S&P index? I'm just curious. Okay. Oops, I unshared. All right, so with the S&P, let's see how you'll fare. I seriously have no idea. Indicators list, what are WAE? I need to enable the arrows. Okay, arrow 2. Oh yeah, in my excitement of sharing this indicator, I just need to do a few explanations. So you can see that there's a green and red bar. Usually when the signal occurs, how the signal actually occurs is that you see the blue line at the sub window. Let me bring it up. This blue line. Yeah. So any signal which is actually happen beneath the blue line, it is known as the dead zone, the boring zone. Yeah. So it won't actually give you a signal. Yeah. If the price, the momentum of the price is huge enough and actually closes above the dead zones, as in this, you can see this particular signal, then it will give you a buy signal, long signal. So on top of that, it's actually filtered with EMA, which I believe the value is 20. The default value is 20. EMA methods, EMA. Yep. So the original WAE indicator, it does not have the moving average as an additional filter. For this one, it does. Yeah. So even if a signal actually occurs beneath the 20 EMA, then it does not actually give you the entry, right? So that's just a brief explanation to it. So let's see how it occurs today. Oh, in fact, we might have a signal. Yeah. This might be a possible signal. Who knows? All right, so for the previous week, you can see that weekly pivot is down, so we don't really exactly get any signal. This will be actually an entry over here. Yeah. Daily pivot steps down, weekly pivot steps down, you'll get an entry and we'll get stop loss within the next few candles. So let's go one more week back. Daily pivot steps up. Weekly pivot is up, so we are just looking for long signal. So we have a signal for this. We won't get trigger ins. Daily pivot steps down. We are no longer interested, not all the way. So again, you can see that weekly pivot steps up. We are looking for long signal. So in fact, we get a signal at the very early start of the week. Personally, I'll be sleeping, so I'll be taking this signal. I will also personally recommend you want to take a huge S bar. Yeah, just try to take this kind of bar. You're essentially chasing after price. Not a good thing. So you get a signal for this bar, which is completely valid, and then you'll get stop out. 2 stop losses. Step down. This will be a valid one. Here you have 3 stop losses, which doesn't seem so good at the moment. Weekly pivot steps down, daily pivot steps down, you'll get a signal. So this one will be a winner. So 1 winner, 3 stop loss. Weekly pivot steps up. You're just waiting for daily pivot steps up. Yeah, actually in the very start of the week we did get it. So this will actually be a valid entry, which will get stop loss immediately. Yeah, so we've got 4 losses. This will be a signal for you. Yeah. So you actually go all the way to nearly 2R and then price reverses. Yeah, I'll still count this as a loss. I don't intend to introduce any trading stop loss, just for simplicity of back testing. But again, I'll completely welcome you to do so. Yeah, anytime price actually move a certain distance, you can actually trade your stop loss accordingly to pivots or even the support and resistance area. Actually, on the hourly chart, it doesn't look that good at the moment. Yeah, I got 6 stop losses really and only 1 winner. Yeah, on the hourly chart, it does look way more volatile. My method don't really go with this, I think. So this will be a signal. Won't get into 3R. In fact, you'll get stop loss out. Yeah, at first glance, it doesn't really work right for S&P. Might have to try other method for the index. I'll be frank with you, this is actually what I can observe. But I think for the currency, it might work to a certain extent. Please do try it. Yeah, I think it's rather interesting. So with that, any questions that you want to ask? Or you think that this is actually a pretty boring indicator for you to play around with? Let me see. Right, it's a bit of a disappointment for the S&P. Doesn't work. In fact, 7 consecutive stop loss, 1 winner doesn't really seem that good for me in that. Yeah, it might need different filter for it to work. Might mean that way. Yeah, but it's up to you to try it out. All right. So with that, I believe the link is out. Yeah, the link will be active throughout the week, and then I'll delete it on Friday itself. So download it if you're interested. And thanks for joining me today. And I'll see you next week. Goodbye.